You ever wonder how a community really sees itself? Well, today we're going to find out by looking at something you might not expect, a job description. But this isn't for some tech CEO. This is a search for a spiritual leader. And in the process of trying to find that person, a community ends up revealing its heart, its biggest challenges, and what it's truly hoping for.
So let's dive right in. How does a community even go about hiring its next spiritual leader? I mean, this is so much more than just checking boxes on a resume. It's about a whole group of people looking in the mirror and asking, okay, who are we, really? And who do we need to help us become who we're meant to be? It's a fascinating window into the soul of an organization.
All right, so the community we're zeroing in on is St. Christopher's Episcopal Church down in Pensacola, Florida. Our guide for this whole thing is their 2025 Parish Profile. See, they're looking for a new rector. That's their head priest, the leader of the parish. And to do that, they've put together this incredibly detailed, self-aware document.
So, what even is a parish profile? Well, think of it as kind of like a mix of an annual report, a really deep self-study, and a sales pitch, all rolled into one. It's the church's entire story told by its own members, specifically to find the perfect leader to help them write the next chapter. It's our ultimate inside look. Okay, first things first. Before you can figure out who you need to hire, you have to know who you are, right? So let's get to the core identity of St. Christopher's. How do they talk about themselves? Turns out, it's all about this really interesting and dynamic balance.
What's so cool here is this tension you see. On one hand, they call themselves orthodox and rooted, deeply connected to these ancient, beautiful traditions. But on the other hand, they're open and relevant, super welcoming, progressive, and not afraid to tackle the big issues of today. For them, this isn't a contradiction. It's exactly who they are.
And bam, this quote just nails their whole vibe. Their mission isn't something passive that just sits on a piece of paper. It's an active, powerful call to get up and do something. It's not just about believing. It's about making that belief come alive, together. We give God's love life. I mean, wow, that is a powerful statement of purpose. You know, this one detail from the profile really stuck with me. They actually have a reputation. They're literally known as the church that loves to love. That tells you so much. It's a place people go to find sanctuary, to heal, especially if they've had bad experiences with church before. It's way more than a congregation. They really see themselves as a family. So, we've got a feel for their values, their heart, but what does this community actually look like when you run the numbers? The profile gets into some hard data, and it paints this really compelling picture of both their incredible strengths and the big challenges they are facing, like right now. Let's start with a huge strength. Check out this number, over $3 million. So what does a number like that actually mean for a church community? Well, it means they are rock solid financially. They have zero debt, it covers all their major building maintenance, and it completely frees them up to focus their energy on what they call real ministry. Okay, but now for the core challenge. And to their credit, they are completely upfront about it. Just look at these age demographics. A full 63% of the congregation is 65 or older. They know this, they call themselves a mature membership, and they state point blank that they need to engage with younger generations. This one chart pretty much defines their entire search. But wait, the story gets a little more complex when you look at this. You see how long people have been around, and it's fascinating. You've got this incredibly strong, stable core. A quarter of them have been there for over 20 years. But you've also got this really healthy stream of new people coming in. In fact, over half the church joined in just the last 10 years. That's a sign of life right there. So here's the bottom line from the data. You've got a community that is stable, incredibly committed, financially secure, and also really self-aware about its biggest hurdle. And knowing all that context, it's absolutely key to understanding everything that comes next. All right, so that's who they are. Now let's look at what they do. Because a community's identity isn't just about what it says, it's about what it does. And get this, St. Christopher's has over 50 active ministries. 50! And they organize all that work around this really clear 5-part plan.
They call this framework the 5 marks of mission. It's basically their playbook for how they put their faith into practice, covering everything from internal education to serving the wider world. It's tell, teach, tend, transform, and treasure. A pretty solid blueprint.
And this isn't just theory. Here are some real-world examples. Under Tell, they're reaching out with things like outdoor concerts and events for newcomers.
Under Teach, they have serious theological studies for adults, plus great programs for kids. And Tend is all about that direct, hands-on service, making casseroles for people in need, putting together blessing bags for the homeless population, just really practical stuff.
And their work gets even bigger than that. Transform is about tackling systemic problems by being part of a citywide social justice coalition. And Treasure is about taking care of the planet with a whole creation care group and even a public meditation garden. I mean, this is a community that is firing on all cylinders. All right, so we know who they are, we know their strengths, their challenges, and the work they are so passionate about. And all of this has been building up to the final, most important piece of the puzzle. What kind of leader are they actually looking for to guide them into the future?
And here is. Every single point here connects directly back to everything we've just learned. They need a theologically progressive leader. Well, that matches their open identity. They specifically ask for vibrant energy and a clear vision for families and youth. Ding, 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 there's that demographic challenge. They need someone who can honor rich traditions while inspiring new opportunities. That's the rooted yet relevant balance, but in a person.
When you boil it all down, this is the job. They're looking for a bridge builder, somebody who can stand with one foot planted firmly in a deep, proud history, and the other stepping confidently toward a future that's going to look very different, and who can bring everybody along for the ride. And that leaves us with a much bigger question, doesn't it? Because this isn't just about one church in Florida. It's about any long-standing community, a business, a city, even a family, that knows it needs to evolve without losing its soul. What does it actually take to honor the past while you bravely embrace the future? That is the challenge, and really, the adventure of leadership.